Thanks for listening to the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast, where each week we talk about a free piece or two of technology that you can use in your classroom. I'm your host, Shanna Martin. I'm a middle school teacher, technology and instructional coach for my district.
Yoo-hoo! Big summer episode. And I'm her producer and husband, Fuzz Martin. Thank you for joining us this summer. You should have known when
I knew, because there's so many ways you can use yoo-hoo.
Yeah, you told me.
I wasn't sure which.
You told me what the topic was today,
we were
and
going.
immediately I'm like, "This is where I'm going. This is the direction I'm going." I didn't even. It took like a half second, and I'm glad I went there.
Yeah,
I'm glad to be here with
I'm
you.
Glad to be here.
You, the audience member, thank you for listening on your summer. I hope it's great.
Yeah, I hope everyone's summer break is going well. It's one of those where we're in mid-July and we're not going to point out that some people might be starting soon.
Yeah, we won't point that out.
But hopefully you've had some time to relax and are able to relax and continue to listen to all your favorite podcasts and read books and sit by a pool and do whatever you want to do in the summer.
Yeah.
So this week is inspired by, I seem to work a lot in the summer.
You do.
I was presenting at another school district in Wisconsin about 2 weeks ago. Last week now? I don't know, all my weeks are running together. And
Nobody will know.
Nobody will know. So I presented last week-ish. It was the last week of the week before. Some information with another teacher from my district, and we were presenting or giving tools and tips for teachers to build more SEL into their classrooms, so more social emotional learning, and how it naturally just kind of fits in certain parts of your day with your students. And I had like my whole little tech toolbox I was talking about, and I was like, wow, I actually haven't talked about either of these two things on my podcast, so I should share them. So that's where this kind of comes from, is I was sharing and teaching other teachers, and I haven't shared with all of you.
And here we are. Yeah.
Here we are.
Now, we always do this. So if you're new to the podcast, or maybe you've only listened for a while, every summer we've got a midsummer episode.
So this is like season 6.5. Because we're not into season 7 yet, but we're still at the end of season 6, and it's episode 188.
Yeah.
So you can go back and listen to all the episodes and learn all the fun things.
Mm-hmm.
And the first site I'm going to talk about is called Yoo-hoo.
Yoo-hoo.
So it's Yoo-hoo. Yoo-hoo. Youhue. That's where the Yoo-hoo comes from. So then it turned into like Yoo-hoo, like the chocolate wannabe milk drink.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then also Yoo-hoo to the rescue. If anybody knows that cartoon, I referenced it in my presentation, and nobody had heard of Yoo-hoo to the rescue. It's these like little animals in the forest. Anyway, check it out.
Yeah.
It was watched a lot in our house at some point.
It was.
All right. So Yoo-hoo is a fantastic SEL site, but really it's an app, but works on a desktop as well.
Okay.
So I appreciate this can be used K-12. Like, this site is easy to navigate. And once you have it set up as a teacher, it's for free, able to support your students, and younger students can use it differently than older students use it. So I'll kind of talk about that. So to get to the site, it's Yoo-hoo, like I said, but it's app, like .yoo-hoo, youhue.com. And so you can use it, again, a desktop or a computer or a phone or a tablet. So it works in all of those places.
Mm-hmm.
So as a teacher, you'd sign up for a teacher account, and then you get your little homepage, and then you create your classroom. So you can add classes. It's not going to connect through like Google Classroom or anything like that, but you can choose if you're in preschool through 12th grade or other. So you set up your classes with your students. Students can type in a code to join your class, or you can add their emails. Once you have your students' class set up, what's super cool is that I would go to my classes, and then I assign like a journal entry.
Okay.
And once I do that, my students have the opportunity, you ask, how are you? And the how are you is then set up with these cute little emojis that show what you're feeling for the day. So there's 9 emojis that they work with, and you kind of see it in their logo. It's like there's little 9 dots. they're going to show the different like feelings, like how you're feeling for the day. It also has very cool, like it's easy to identify if you're happy or excited, if you're sad, if you're upset, like whatever it may
Sure,
be.
yeah.
So the students get the little like box of emojis. You
Mhm.
click the emoji of how you're feeling, and then you have an opportunity to kind of tell us why. It's called a mood journal. So kids can fill in their information. So I made like fake journal entries so you guys can understand how it works. So I picked just like a calm, because calm is one of the emojis. Student number 2 was feeling calm about homework, and it like gives you a summary, kind of like pulls out the key words in the kid's entry. And as a student, I slept really late and I don't have any homework due. I might even go to a concert this weekend. The student's feeling calm. It pulls out and highlights calm. It highlights the different words like home, homework, work. It will pull out words I need to know. And then it also will flag things that look questionable or that you can mark questionable that you need to follow up with student on. And they also have like popular, so the ones that show up the most. But what's really cool about this is because you work with those 9 emojis all the time, it will give you your class analytics.
Okay.
So you can read real quick at the start of a class. It'll give you a little graph. The kids pick their 9 emojis. They can write their journal entry in, or it doesn't have to be really long if they're younger students, but they can pick their emojis and you can see, wow, my class is really tired today. Wow, my kids are feeling like really excited. Maybe there's a field trip coming up or something. Wow, I can see like some of my kids are really struggling today. So you can see that if you do this as a bell ringer, as soon as they walk in the classroom, right away, you can have a read on your students' emotions and how they're feeling. What's also cool is that it collects your data over time. So daily, you can see how they're feeling Monday through Sunday, monthly, and you can look at that and see like, wow, some of my kids are tracking like they are really exhausted every Monday morning. Like, what can I do to support those kids when I'm teaching them? Which is kind of cool. So it also gives, so you can have access to their mood journals and they can choose, like you can put different settings on there if kids don't want to share everything with you or if they just want you to see their emoji of how they're doing. And you can see all of those different pieces and see how your kids are feeling. Another cool piece, and this kind of works for younger students, is that if they can't really type full sentences yet, because we know some of our kindergartners, first grade, second grade, like you want their emoji, like the emoji to know how they're feeling, but you also are like, we're not going to spend like an hour typing a sentence. They do have in your little account then is activities. So like a journey to happiness, shine like a sunflower. You click on the different emoji and it gives you 2 different videos that go with it that can explain those feelings. That can be social stories. Some of them have more than 2 videos. And they have like little social stories or different connections with these cute little videos that look like your little emoji people. So it's kind of nice that you can also incorporate those situations in your classroom. So if you have students that are sad or disappointed because something doesn't go right or they're hurt or lonely, you can then play the little video and have a class discussion. The videos are fast, they're like 1, 2, 3 minutes to spark that discussion in class and kind of give kids a social story for understanding those feelings. So it's all laid out really simple. There's not a bunch of buttons to click or ways to get to things. Like click your emoji, type in how you're feeling. As a teacher, you can see how the class is doing. I think it's really helpful before kids take a test or an assessment to see like, ooh, are we like really stressed about this one? Are we feeling like pretty good because we've studied for it? Are we feeling good about the content? And it gives you those different pieces. And then I can see analytics real quick, like, all right, class is not feeling too hot about this one. And we're going to see how it goes. And then you can also have those discussions afterwards. Like, hey, I see you all weren't feeling so great about this. How can we make those adjustments? So it's just a way of putting kids in tune with how they're feeling and a very quick way as the teacher to see your kids at once. Because sometimes they don't want to tell you things, but they can click an emoji to show you how they're feeling.
Sure. And they might be more apt to click that corresponding smiley face or frowny face.
Yeah. And the thing is too, like if it just becomes a routine in your classroom, they just walk in, click it, type it in. You know, it doesn't even have to be every day, but if it's like twice a week, we do check-ins or something like that, you can easily build that in and you can add that to each one of your classes.
Very nice.
So you
Yoo-hoo.
It's a cool way to check in on how your kids are feeling, and it's quick and easy to understand. And we love the data. For any of my data people out there, we love some data. So there you go.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was a cool tool, and it went over really well just because we talked in my session. I had kindergarten through high school teachers, and everybody had a way like, oh my gosh, I can use this for the videos. I can use this for quick checks on my students. I can use this in homeroom. I can use this with like a lunch group. Like there was all different ideas people had. So awesome. Yay for all of you educators out there using this already. So Yoo-hoo. And the second one that we're chatting about, this other SEL tool, is actually not a website.
Okay.
We are going to talk about another podcast.
Oh, fun.
I love a good podcast.
Me too.
So the podcast is called Emotion Motion.
Okay.
It is put on by Move This World, which has a collection of podcasts. And the Emotion Motion podcast is created for younger students, so elementary, to get them identifying their feelings and also moving around in their classroom. And it builds in social stories, so like how to handle those situations. And it all takes place in the ocean.
Wow.
So it's got like, it's fun. So there's like fish. So they have a main character, and she goes through and kind of like, these are all parts of her life. And they build more self-awareness, or if she has like big emotions or she's feeling things, you kind of help you identify like with kids how they would feel those same things.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the podcast titles like The Bigger Starfish, Teaming with the Fish, Playdate Problem Solvers, Help in the Kelp. That's Otter's favorite food. Kelp. So there's all kinds of cool, like the wave of sadness. So everything's ocean themed. And then each episode is from, 12 to 20 minutes or so. But they go through, and for younger students, get them out of their seats. They can listen to the story and imagine it and kind of move their body around and feel the emotions and what they're doing and play the parts, and also help understand how to handle these situations.
Sure.
So it's really cool. It's really engaging for younger kids or early elementary students, and to get them moving and identifying those feelings, because that's always a big piece. Is they have so much going on and they're thinking so many things. They don't know how to wrap their brains around it. So it's a great way of training our younger students to be able to understand their emotions, so that way they can articulate them to other people. So that one is called Emotion Motion. There's 3 seasons of it. And there's all kinds of cool opportunities for our kids to kind of learn how to handle their emotions, and then also move around in the classroom, which I appreciate as well.
Yeah, that's fun. I heard you listening to an episode before we started this podcast, and it sounded really fun.
Yeah, there's like all kinds of cool like background noises, yes. And it's very engaging.
Yes,
so
well produced.
Yes, so I suggest that one as well. So Emotion Motion podcast, along with Yoo-hoo, for any sort of tools that you might want to try out with your students to kind of help them understand their emotions and be able to communicate with others.
Very good.
There you go. Those are my little shares for the summer.
Good summer shares, Shanna.
I try.
Say that 5 times fast.
Yoo-hoo. There you go. Well, thanks for tuning in. This has been the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast. If you ever have any questions, you can find me on the app formerly known as Twitter,
X,
or on Threads, or on Facebook. I have all kinds of cool things posted in the summer there too.
Yeah.
And if you want to get more information on the links to the technology discussed in this episode, you can visit smartandwi.com. If you'd like to support the show, please consider buying me a coffee or two. Visit buymeacoffee.com/smartandwi, or visit smartandwi.com and click on that cute little purple coffee cup. Your donations help keep the show going. New episodes starting in September,
August, September, somewhere on there.
August, September, new school year. New episodes, new school year. Thanks for listening. Go educate and innovate.
The ideas and opinions expressed in this podcast and the Smart NWI website are those of the author, Shanna Martin, and not of her employer. Prior to using any of the technologies discussed on this podcast, please consult with your employer regulations. This podcast offers no guarantee that these tools will work for you as described, but we hope they do. And we'll talk to you next time here on the Tech Tools for Teachers podcast.